All houses are on stilts in the water, and transport between the houses is only possible with boats. A kind of Venice, but quite different. In 1977, we made the first plans for an overland tour through Africa. 37 years later, the dream became reality. We spent 4 years on the road, traveling through 5 continents. Our journey came to a sudden stop in Southeast Asia due to Corona. We have hit the road again, but nobody knows where and when our voyage will end. In the previous episode, we cycled on Silk Island and visited a silk farm. We drove to Krakor and saw an open-air primary school in action. We have a quiet night, but are awakened early by the gong of the monks' morning prayers.
Today we start with a boat trip through this floating village, and it's a 1-hour trip, and after that we'll move on to Siem Reap. We're not sure we'll make it today. That's where Angkor is.
Kampung Luong is a fishing village along Lake Tonle Sap. In the village live mainly Vietnamese. All houses are on stilts in the water, and transport between the houses is only possible with boats. A kind of Venice, but quite different. Assignment of boatsmen is community regulated, but we don't see any other tourists. drive 320 kilometers to Siem Reap, the base camp for Angkor Wat. We progress slowly because the route is just as difficult as yesterday. On the way, we stop briefly in a sculptor's village. Rows of Buddhist statues and other figures are lined up here. We do see men cutting the raw stones, but we see no one sculpt. The last part of the road is much better, so that we still arrive at a reasonable time. Places recommended by Overlander appear to have closed during Corona. We set up camp voluntarily on a beautiful site in the garden of the tourist police station. A policeman tries to sell us a tuk-tuk and a guide.
First we get an impression, we know what it looks like, and then we decide what it is.
You have speak French or?
No, well, we have a book with a lot of information.
Yeah, sometimes you go with the tuk-tuk and with the guide, tour guide, they speak the history about all the temple.
We have to buy our tickets for Angkor Wat at the central office in Siem Reap.
Okay, thank you.
The amount of visitors is small, caused by Corona and the rainy season.
Reken het op meer klanten.
There is so much to see in Angkor that we take a 3-day ticket. We get a 10-day ticket for the price of a 3-day ticket. After we've bought bread and some other basic stuff, we start with the big circuit. The big circuit contains a number of smaller temples.
We are now at the Rup Temple. It's an early Hindu temple built in 961.
Angkor was the capital city of the Khmer Empire. The city and empire flourished from approximately the 9th to the 15th centuries. The ruins of Angkor are located amid forests and farmland north of the Great Lake and south of the Kulin Hills, near modern-day Siem Reap.
We are now at the East Mebon Temple, built in the early 10th century, and we are at the east entrance.
Many of the temples at Angkor have been restored, and together they comprise the most significant site of Khmer architecture.
We are at the west entrance of the Som Temple, built in the late 12th century.
The entire expanse is collectively protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The temples of the area number over 1,000. They range from nondescript piles of brick rubble scattered through rice fields to the Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is said to be the world's largest single religious monument. In 2007, an international team of researchers concluded that Angkor had been the largest pre-industrial city in the world. It had an elaborate infrastructure system connecting an urban sprawl of at least 1,000 square kilometers. It is wonderful to see how well sculptures are often still preserved at these temples from the 12th century. The next temple we're visiting is the Neak Pean temple, built on an island in the lake. The area is nicely wooded and some temples still seem to be in the middle of the jungle. This place was set up to cure diseases. In the Hindu belief that there should be a balance between the four elements: air, water, earth and fire. So what we see here is 4 lakes around the central lake representing each of the elements, and the water of which flows into the central lake. So it was believed that people, by bathing here in the water, would be cured. We are now standing in front of the Preah temple. It was built in the 12th century, and at that time about 100,000 people lived in this area. When this temple was built in the 12th century, it became the center of the kingdom, with nearly 100,000 officials living and working here. The weather is nice all day, but in the afternoon it is so cloudy that the sunset at one of the temples is not very good. Siem Reap, the city from which all trips to Angkor are made, is the neatest city we have seen on this Asia trip. In the next episode we visit Khmer temples of Angkor along the Little Circuit.